Shaitanir Rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I greet you, my brothers and sisters, with the noble and universal greeting of peace, the greeting that has been used by the prophets and messengers of our universal Creator, Almighty Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was just thinking what a privilege it is that we have this time allocated every week for us to get together and apply ourselves in our purpose. The Quran guides us that our purpose is to bring to Allah a purified heart. Our purpose is to become Allah conscious. Our purpose is to recognize the power of Allah. The heavens and the earth were created that we may recognize the power of Allah. Our purpose is to be among those who are grateful. And so we are working towards the purification of the heart. We are working towards the clearing of the diseases of the heart. See, the two work together. You cannot say, I'm purifying my heart, but my heart remains diseased. The quality of your heart, the quality of your feeling, the quality of your being is what we are addressing here. And it's based in A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, that we are the claimers of the refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed. Allah is our protector. Allah is our protector. We choose to experience being protected through our awareness of Allah from Satan the accursed, from where our hearts are diseased. So how wonderful it is that we have this time allocated and that we choose to use this time. Those of us who come together in this time, we're obviously using this time for what we want. It's not just you come here to listen to me because you have to, because it's Friday. This is serving us in a vision, in a mission, in an objective. See, this is support for our purpose. And so I am among those who live with a vision in life. I have a vision of a higher functioning me, a me that is having a higher level of awareness and experiencing of Allah consciousness. A me that, as the Quran says, if you have faith in your heart and if you have good conduct, whether you're a male or you're a female, there is for you in this world Allah's good in this world and a blissful return. I live with a vision, I live with a purpose. My life has meaning, and this serves. It serves me in my purpose, in my vision, in my meaning, in my mission. See, my mission is to receive Allah's good in this world and the world beyond, and that's only by becoming Allah conscious. You see, I am interested in experiencing the security as a believer. And from being a believer, I'm interested in applying myself in a way that I call being a receiver. See, I am interested in submission before Allah, experiencing that assurance and reassurance that only a true believer experiences. That security, that okayness that can be found nowhere in this world or in anybody or anything. Not in any activity of this world. You get making money, pleasing your in-laws, whatever it may be. Nothing will give you a security that being a believer, having iman in your heart, nothing in the world can secure you. It's not your work. A lot of the people may not be here for these presentations because there's something in the world that is important to them. They are feeling insecure and they are trying to feel safe in the world, relieved and excited in the world. If I get this, if I do that, if my mother-in-law loves me, if my father-in-law puts me in his will, and so on and so forth, I'll be okay. I'll be okay when I am doing these things. I'll be okay when I am getting these things. I'll be okay when I have these things. I'll be okay when people accept me and approve of me. You know what I mean? And so many people are busy, but the hour will come. The hour of our death, the time of our death, and the hour of judgment or accountability, the day of accountability will come. And we will meet our Maker, so to speak. And there will be accountability for how we lived. You get what I mean? But most people, that's not important. Because the Quran tells us, firstly, don't say you're a believer when faith has not entered into your heart. Rather say that you are a submissive in religion. You are a religious person. Rather say you have religiosity. Or you follow religion. Don't say you're a believer. And the Quran says that many people say they believe in Allah in the last day. But they don't really believe in Allah in the last day. They don't believe in the hereafter. Okay? And it goes on to say in their hearts is a disease. And that disease and they are astray. And Allah leaves them to stray, and that disease is expanded. You get what I mean? When we live in this world, you can live with an aspiration and a vision. And most people's aspiration and vision is, I want to get married, I want to have children, I want to have a nice house to live in, I want food on the table all the time. And nobody's saying that's not something that you should focus on. Because Allah tells us, focus on our portion in this world. You get what I mean? But if our vision is exclusively for this world, then we're not claiming for our death and beyond, into the grave and beyond. You know what I mean? Beyond our death. We're not choosing for that. And the Quran says, choose for this world. Rabbana atina fid dunya. It's in the Quran, and the Prophet would always make this dua, and fil akhirah as well. Allah guides us to Him. Allah guides us how to live, that He created us to live excellently. Allah guides us how to function in this world, champions us that we may choose the straight path, that we choose the higher path, the path of human excellence, living in a way that we are secure with Allah, living in a way that we can function in a way that benefits us and our community. Islam is all about benefiting. Don't gamble, don't drink. It doesn't benefit you to do that. You know what I mean? Don't steal, don't cheat. It doesn't benefit you to do that. It doesn't benefit the community that you do that. Eat halal, eat tayyib. It benefits you to eat halal and tayyib. You get what I mean? How to conduct yourself. It's benefiting people. Function as human excellently as you can, and function in support of society that is functioning at that level. You get what I mean? So most people, they don't have a vision for their death, that what do they want to feel at the time of their death. And most people don't have a vision for the afterlife. But the Quran tells us plainly that it is only those who bring to Allah a purified heart that matters. When it says that neither will your wealth nor your children avail you. It's not the things of this world, fame and fortune and money. And it's not your family and people in your life that's going to avail you. All the benefits that you have, the vision that you have for this world, all your achievements for this world is not going to avail you. It doesn't say your achievements of this world are bad and you should not have these achievements. It says, Allah gives you. Though there are many Allah gives in this world when they ask for this world. And they don't ask for the akhirah. They don't ask for the hereafter. They don't ask. So, I choose security with Allah as my vision. The experience of spiritual well-being, closeness to Allah, having my heart being purified, demonstrating as high a vibration as I can, a high feeling as I can. You know what I mean? Being peaceful and patient, loving, compassionate, merciful, forgiving, pardoning, embodying the essences of Allah that we are able to embody. Generous, kind, graciously giving, merciful, compassionate, forgiving, being creative, being secure. So my aspiration, my vision, sadly, is not a popular vision, but it is the vision of the Quran that we are guided to have. That do you have a vision of yourself being a believer? Do you have a vision of yourself being strengthened in belief? Do you have a vision of yourself showing up with iman, yaqeen, tawakkul, taqwa? Do you have a vision of yourself being a person with iman and amal, your conduct, how you carry yourself in the world? You see, if you have that vision of iman, closeness to Allah, your relationship with Allah, we have a relationship of submission with Allah. Our first relationship is with Allah. We are centered in Allah. Security. If you have that vision, and you have that vision of being an exemplar, like the Prophet was an exemplar, but to your people, to where you are, that I want to demonstrate, not as a child being nice, but as an adult, being a healthy adult, reasonable. Stand in your own authority as an adult, and to be godly, loving, kind, merciful, appropriately. A lot of people don't understand that the Prophet ﷺ is exemplar, in terms of behavior. And he wasn't all about let's be nice to everybody. Somebody knocked on my door, the Prophet answered, I'm a beggar, I got nothing. The Prophet didn't say, let me give you my axe and take it away and we wish you well. He said, I have an axe to lend you. I'm lending you an axe. You get what I mean? And go and cut wood. And when you have enough wood and you sell, buy yourself your own axe. Please return my axe. This is what I believe, been told to us. Use my axe, lending it to you. It's charity. We'll be like, take my axe, because it's a month of Ramadan, take my axe, I'm a Jannati, I'm suffering for everybody. Not really thinking as an adult. Not really being reasonable. Because we're not into Iman. We're not into amal. How can you be if you don't have a vision of living connected with God, our universal creator, Almighty Allah? How can you, if you don't have an aspiration to be like the Prophet actually? So some people just be, I got my beard, got my beard now, and I'm like the Prophet. You know what I mean? But nothing like the Prophet actually, in terms of conduct and carrying on in the world, The Prophet used to eat halal and tayyib. The Quran says eat halal and tayyib. A lot of the people who have the beards, and I'm not criticizing anybody, I'm just saying, and I want to get into this in a more deeper way, as a mature adult. This is not for children. This kind of thing is not for those who act like children too, and be like children. This is for people who want to bring to Allah a purified heart, who understand that there is a purpose and a vision that we can have. There's a mission that we are on here, to worship Allah, to stop worshipping Satan. You get what I mean? This is not for people who want to be like children, act like children, continue with their madrasa child mind. What I learned in madrasa as a child, I'm living as that same child into my adult years. I'm right, everybody's wrong. You get what I mean? This is not for people like that. The Quran says this is a book for people who reason. The worst of people, the lowliest of people are those who do not reason. The Quran says, seeing they see not, hearing they hear not. Deaf, dumb and blind they are. This is for people who can reason. Instead, a lot of people have been brainwashed. And they follow cults. They follow groups of people. There's no sense of self there. They can't think for themselves. They're extremely tribal. When you talk to them, you're not talking to them, you're talking to a tribal ego. It's not for them. That's why I withdrew my lectures from multiple platforms, because it's not for people who want to live as children and die as children. You get what I mean? And raised up as children in their mentality. The Quran is encouraging us to reason and to use the faculty of reason that adults have been given. We have it, we've been given it, we can use it. So I'm saying to you that if you don't have in your heart this vision of having a purified heart, that means your heart is very diseased. You might be, but I got my beard and I'm on the musalla and I'm going for Hajj and everything else. I kept all my fasts, in Ramadan and all that sort of thing. We're not talking about the same thing here. We're talking about the thing that is neglected in tribal teachings of religion. How to live demonstrating human excellence, being a believer and being a receiver. I want to talk about that now since Ramadan is over. I want to focus on, in Ramadan we focus on fasting as a spiritual discipline that allows you to experience discomfort and handle discomfort and be able to feel good in spite of discomfort. Because if you can do that, you won't be controlled by your discomfort. You can really focus on Allah. You can really focus on being, if you're hungry and irritated and you don't know how to handle that, or if you're tired and irritated and you don't know how to handle that, fasting teaches us how to handle that. Because you connect with Allah and experience security with Allah. But if you don't know, you can very easily behave very poorly. You can very easily behave very poorly. So fasting allows us to be peaceful, patient, to feel secure with our Creator, to deal with situations in which there's discomfort without being controlled by the discomfort. We don't be short or curt with people, rude, because we're not getting what we want. We learn patience with fasting. Is one of the things, of the benefits of fasting. We learn to be mature as adults. Children get emotional and then they can't control themselves. As adults, we can handle our emotions. We can notice, I'm feeling irritated, I'm feeling angry. Okay, let me claim the refuge with Allah. Instead of like, no, I just got my beard and I just came out of the mosque, I'm going to get very angry now because I did the main things, I remind you at the time of the Prophet when, he was getting the revelation and he was teaching people, and when he went to Medina and they were there and he didn't say to people, let's start a madrasa, bring all your children here. I want to teach y'all's children. He never did that. He's teaching the adults, teaching them to reason. See, he didn't say, okay people, you'll all now said your kalema, and you'll testify now, just carry on doing what I told you, bring the children, let's put them in a madrasa, and let's just teach the children in madrasa. Did the Prophet do that? Did he focus on children and teaching children in a madrasa? Did he do that? I don't think so. I think he was reasoning with the adults and guiding them. He didn't say leave the adults, let's just focus on the children. I'm not saying don't focus on the children, but what I'm saying is this is a message for people who are developed enough to reason. Children, brain capacity, they're not really functioning fully. Their brains are still developing, their person is still developing. Only when they reach a certain age, then they become ripe, or mature. So think about it, people. I'm asking you to reason. Quran says use hikmah. Share with the people wherever there's contention, but use reason. But of course, the people who are championing childhood understanding or children's understanding of Islam, they don't want to reason. They want to be right because that's typical of a child. A child will never admit that they are in error. You get what I mean? A child will never admit that their parents or their people or their tribe might be in error. Child will never do that. Child will side the tribe. You know what I mean? But that's how it is. It's got nothing to do with us, how other people live their lives. The Quran says, don't worry about them. Allah will show them, where they differed, and it's got nothing to do with us. The Prophet was said, you're only a messenger, you are not a manager. You just give the message. You get what I mean? So we are just here for ourselves. And the vision is dying as a believer, living and dying as a believer closer to God than ever before, being raised up as a believer, living and dying as a receiver, and being raised up as a receiver, receiving God's, becoming aware of Allah, and becoming aware of our Creator's infinite grace upon us, and His, Allah's giving to us, the fixed good of God upon us, in our being, in our living as human beings. We're not advanced animals, as the scientists will have you believe. We are really, really remarkable human beings. Are really one of the greatest of creation that we are aware of on this planet of Allah. We're really, really a really remarkable being, but most people don't even know that human beings have been given the ability to choose. The angels weren't given the ability to choose. The angels were to bow before, a human. People don't realize that Satan doesn't want you to know. Remember, Satan said, I'm not bowing. So Satan is not for, bowing to human beings. Satan is not to recognizing with adoration. Sajda means adoration. You prostrate in adoration. Not just prostrate, you prostrate in adoration. Even in your salah, you prostrate in adoration. Satan doesn't adore us. Allah said to those in heaven, bow before Adam, alayhi salam, bow. Prostrate before humanity. Do you know what that means? For those who will reason, that we are truly blessed creation of Allah. As a species, what we are capable of. Good, being godly, experiencing goodliness, the fixed good of God upon us. Our heart, how we can live and function in this world on the straight path. Being really aware of Allah, and really being like the Prophet. Being aware of the message of the Quran. Being aware of the beauty of Islam. Really as adults. Seeing it as adults, which most people sadly don't see. Understanding why dua is the weapon of the believer. Dua is the weapon of the believer. Get it? We don't understand these things. There's a lot of superstition, ignorance, and arrogance. So I was saying that this is the situation where we can actually be adults, literally see clearly, reason. We can live and observe Allah's favor of us as He created us, miraculous beings, the highest functioning organisms on this planet, if you want to say that, the most complex, the most remarkable, capable of living with a purified heart, each one of us unique in our own ways. No two people are the same. We are rare. We can recognize the gift of life, of being created and being alive. We can be grateful for our existence and our existence as human beings. We can with a purified heart. If you got a diseased heart, you'll be looking for something in the world. One day when I have this, one day my happiness is because I got a bigger house now, I got a bigger car now, I earn more money now, I got more children now. My happiness is because of more, bigger, better in the world. But a believer, we rejoice, we celebrate God. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah. You know what I mean? Shukr to Allah. As a believer who is aware of our Creator, we are, we are grateful that we are aware of our Creator and that we have a Creator and we have a relationship with our Creator. This is the joy of the believer. You see, most people, when they're hearing this as children, they thinking I'm asking you to put a hat on your head or a dookie or put a beard on your face and look the part, Or you must now just get on your prayer mat and do rituals. Or now you must just, this is the aspiration of people in terms of religiosity. Look the part, act the part, do these things. But what we're talking about is beyond being a child. We're talking about, these are child ways of thinking, getting closer to God. You get what I mean? That, if I do this, I'm a good person. You get what I mean? If I do this, it's the right thing to do. But you're not understanding what you're doing and why you're doing it. You get what I mean? You're not understanding that this is worship and what worship is, and this is praise and what praise is, and this is what trust is, and this is what gratitude and thankfulness is. You get it? When people are not aware, their awareness is shrunken. They are worshipping Satan. The Quran says, don't worship Satan, worship Allah. And the Quran says, claim refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed. So most people don't know that it is for us to bring to Allah a purified heart. Most people don't know that it is for us to go beyond that fallen state of Adam and Eve, listening to Satan and then getting lost in this world, forgetting about Allah. Most of us don't know that if you fail to remember Allah, yours will be a depressed life. Most people don't know that. You get what I mean? Most people think like children. Just read the Quran in a language you don't understand. It doesn't matter you don't understand it. Just read it. But don't comprehend. You get what I mean? Just look the part. Press and look the part. You don't have to be demonstrating the excellent qualities of the Prophet and the attributes of Allah, like peace and patience and love and compassion and all that sort of thing. No. Security, creativity. People are like, no, what's all that? I was telling you about, people think that happiness in the world has got to do with what you own. And this is why the world is in the rut that it is. I speak to people have told me that they've had some bad experiences with Muslim professionals that just won their money. Muslim people are telling me, so-called Muslim people are telling me about so-called Muslim professionals, that doctors are just taking money left, right and center. Accountants are just taking money left, right and center. People are investing money in different people, and people are they're not really responsible in the handling of that. Widows have lost money, and people are telling me a whole lot of things. And when they go to the dentist or the doctor, they whack their medical aid and leave nothing there. And when they go for after service to them, they're like, no, we can't support you, whatever it is. They don't give them. It's like people just have this idea today that if I got my look and if I'm in the mosque, I'm a Jannati. And their behaviors are absolutely, not everybody, I know I'm generalizing. But this is the situation. People just feel like you got a whole lot of people who are up to crookedness in business. People have told me after I lectured like this in mosque, they come and tell me, what, this is what's going on in the world. Muslims are crooked. A lot of them, they operate crooked, but at the same time, they believe if you got your beard and you got your hat and you're sitting in the mosque there, and you went for this and you did that and you gave this charity. But I know from personal experience, people who have this religiosity but don't give widows their dues from estates and all. From personal experience, I can tell you that. I'm not criticizing. I'm mentioning the state of the heart of the people. You get what I mean? Their vision is not to draw closer to Allah, purify their hearts, to demonstrate human excellence. That's not their vision. Their vision is this world. They worship Satan. They don't worship Allah. But the Quran says, they say they believe in Allah, but they don't. In their hearts is a disease. They are left to stray. The Quran says, whom Allah leaves to stray, none can guide. And the Quran says, who Allah guides, none can lead astray. You see? So, it depends on you. Are you aware that we human beings have a challenge? That if we don't address the state of our hearts, our insecurities, we're going to behave in negative ways. You'll end up in the mosque and bluffing yourself and bluffing. Let's say they lie to themselves thinking they lie to Allah, but they only lie to themselves. You'll be like one of these people. You get what I mean? Do you want to be like this popular people and just got the act on, and in the meantime the hearts are diseased? Because the Quran says it is a book for the purification of the diseases in the hearts. You get what I mean? It's a book for the purification of the diseases in the heart. So, do you know that you require a refuge, that we human beings are in a fallen state where our hearts are diseased? And until you have a vision and a mission to actually purify your heart. And that is, you set on that, and then Allah guides you. The Quran says if you believe in Allah, He will guide your heart. If you believe in Allah, He will guide your heart. See? And if you're sincere that I want to bring to Allah a purified heart, then you hear, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir. You're aware that I claim the refuge with Allah, that I require refuge. I require refuge. We all require refuge. We are thankful that we are guided to the point of realization, I require refuge. And Allah is my refuge. And I can claim that refuge. The Quran says to us, whenever Satan whispers to you, claim the refuge with Allah. Whenever you get emotional and upset, whenever your ego takes over, when you start thinking, give me the money, give me the money. One person said to me, they went to the Muslim specialist, and the Muslim specialist said, bring 2,600 Rand cash. We don't do credit cards here. You know what that means? We're not declaring. You know what I mean? So, my point is, this is the situation of people. They don't know that they are whispered to. They think that because they look the part, dress the part, they're giving the charity from the stolen money and all the crookedness, giving some money to the mosque or doing this, and they kept their fast in Ramadan and they're going to the mosque on time and all that. It's a satanic way. It's a satanic way. This is a bad situation. Doesn't end well. See, if you realize that we all are challenged, we all require refuge. We've been guided to the fact that we require the refuge. Allah is our refuge. We have Allah as a refuge. Allah is an unfailing refuge as far as I'm concerned. Allah is the one power, and Allah is the unfailing refuge. And I feel good about that. You see, I don't feel bad when you have this vision and this mission, and you're living with this purpose, that I want to bring to Allah a purified heart. And you can see, I was saying to somebody earlier today, that I can see who I was, and I can see who I am. That doesn't mean, oh, now I got a very big beard, now I'm sitting in the mosque all the time, now I got my topi, now when I'm talking to people, I'm talking with the lingo, you know what I mean? No, I can see my sincerity of my connection with Allah. I can feel it. And I can see when I talk to people, how I talk to people, how I relate from who I was to who I am. And I can notice when that emotions kick up in me and I'm tempted to be angry and upset, or I'm tempted to do something. Satan will whisper to you, take that, steal that, do this, that, whatever it is. Satan is like that. He'll tell you rob, rape and cheat. You know what I mean? Worry about yourself without any concern to others. Take from people. Me, 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 me. People can't hear that. These people, there's a word for it. It's like, you get the deniers, kuffar, you get the associators, the mushrik, and then you get the munafiq, the hypocrites. They say they believe, but they don't believe. They're not living as believers. They're not interested in their heart. They're not interested in the wonderful teaching of Islam. They're not interested in Allah, really. No. We just do these things. We just do these things. This is exactly what happened at the time of Musa alayhi salam and his people. They went astray. They had the Torah and they started doing their own thing. You get what I mean? Yeah, you got the Quran, you got the Prophet, but people are doing their own thing. They're not recognizing there's a refuge and they're not rejoicing this refuge. You get what I mean? We're rejoicing this refuge. There's a refuge for us to rejoice that we have. Who rejoices the refuge? Get what I mean? Who rejoices the refuge? Not the people that worship Satan. They're not happy that we have a refuge. The people who champion connection with Allah, Iman, Amal, Halal, Tayyib, Fid Dunya, Fil Akhirah. These are the people who are really, interested and sincere. And they will be thankful that there's this refuge. And they'll be thankful that, when Satan whispers, we will happily say, protect me, Allah, from this lower aspect of myself, from my patterns, from my negativity, from my negative propensities. I choose higher, I desire higher. I want to be more aware, I want to be more experiencing of security with you. That when I'm secure with you, I don't want to steal, cheat, rob, rape and all this. I don't want to fight with anybody. I choose real peace. I don't want to be excited by me, this world. You get what I mean? So, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitani Rajim is for us so important that we recognize our hearts are diseased. There's guidance to purify our hearts. We are the people who recognize the refuge. We've been guided to the refuge, the straight path, the path of improving our relationship with Allah, the path of enhancing our being, human beings. We recognize we exist, but we exist as the highest life forms on earth. I told you. We are grateful to Allah. We are thankful. We value Allah. We value Allah's gifts to us. We are aware that we have been given value. We are aware that we have the ability to value. We are aware of what there is to value. This is when you're not worshipping Satan. You wake up and you realize what's really important, and you receive Allah's good in this world. The Quran doesn't say don't prosper in this world, but what it's implied is that don't steal, cheat, rob and rape. Don't act like a greedy person. Don't just take from people because you're in a position of people need medical services or people invest with you and you just take from them and you think nothing. You get what I mean? These are people in whose hearts is a disease. They are stray. And Allah leaves them to stray and their hearts are increased. I'm not one of those people. Shukr to Allah. Shukr, and you'll know when you are a person, and others will know too, when you are a person who understands A'udhu Billahi Minash, and you're so thankful for them. We're so grateful that while we are astray, while we are in a diseased heart, that there is a vision, there is a version, there's a higher version of ourselves, there's a higher vision of our life in this world through our death and beyond, and we aspire to it. We're inspired to live on the path of human excellence. We're inspired to be on the path of the straight path. And people can see it as we live. We're not the same people anymore. That doesn't mean you become a nice person, a little boy or a little girl. No. You stand in truth. Allah guides your heart. You stand and you show the world what self-leadership is. This is what's required. The days of somebody leading us are over. The Quran, not the Quran. Hadith says, at the end of times, before Isa alayhi salam, Imam Mahdi return, mosques will get bigger and bigger. There'll be less and less iman in the mosques, and the people in your mosque will lead you astray. The people in authority will lead you astray. It's a bad time we're living in, people. But shukr to Allah, we have Allah. We don't need any human being, and we don't need anybody who thinks that they know. We know that only Allah knows, and Allah is sufficient for us. And that we can genuinely in our hearts be people of A'udhu, the believer's refuge. We can be people of the refuge that we know. Allah is a refuge for us from the one who whispers into the hearts of humans and jinn. And Allah is a refuge for us, from the darkness that is in the people and the negativity in the land and those who do dark arts and those who are jealous. So it's a bad time. I'm not being a pessimist. I'm just telling you. But it's a good time for spirituality. It's a good time. Soon we won't be here. We'll be beyond this world. And our work here will have paid off. Shukr to Allah. All praise, glory and thanks is due to Allah Almighty. His trust blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.